Hello, darling friends. And now that the corset is finally done, we are starting on the outer layers. In this case, that is going to be the shirt. I'm doing it from the same book as I did the chemise from, Margaret J. Blair's System of Sewing and Garment Drafting. The shirt pattern starts on page 132 in the particular edition that I have. And so I'm actually a little frustrated because I spent over an hour last night trying to figure out a pattern draft in another book for a shirt, and I am still so confused about it. So we're trying an entirely different thing. I'm going to let that draft sit in a corner and think about what it's done for a while and see if I can make, an actual functional shirt. So I really like this because it's got, a bunch of different pictures and grids and such, which makes it so much easier. And it's got, I think, about 20 different possible measurements as compared to the over 50 from the other one, so it should go much, much better. So for the back, it says to draft the back to draw a horizontal line the length of the paper and 1 inch from the edge. So horizontal, length of the paper and 1 inch from the edge. So I think that means that they want it to be this way, if I'm understanding correctly. If not, well, what? Okay, so apparently they're assuming that I'm going the opposite direction on this paper. So, but I'm not. So we are going to do it over here. And we're going to give myself a couple extra inches, just because I do like having a bit of extra space when I can, just in case I decide I want my shirt baggier or looser or what have you. And that way I can just, fold it out of the way if I so desire to make a narrower shirt later with the same pattern. Just makes life so much easier when you've got a little bit of flexibility in your patterns and you don't have to entirely redraft a pattern just to change 2 or 3 measurements. Maybe make my pencil work. Alright, one nice long line drawn. And now from the top of the line, measure down 1/4 of an inch for the curve at the back of the neck. Here's my little tiny square. So we're going to say that this is the top of the neck right here, just because it's on a point. So it says, so 1/4 of an inch, which seems very shallow to me, but no, that's what it wants me to do. That's what it wants me to do. So that'd be 0.1, looks like. From 1, always measure down 4 inches to 2 for the shoulder slant. So we'll measure down 4 inches. Puts 2 there. I need to take off my hoodie. There we go. Much better. Right. From 1, measure down to 3, the length of the back to find the waistline. Let's see. Length of the back, it looks like, was 18 1/4 inches according to those measurements. So 1 down to so it puts it down to here, which that seems like a nice reasonable length that I'll probably need to go down a little farther, because that's from here to here, and I do like shirts long enough that I can tuck them in since I intend to wear these with trousers and waistcoats and such. Alright, from 3, measure up to 4, the length of the underarm measurement to determine the top of the underarm seam. My underarm was 10 3/4 here, so go. That looks a bit high, but we'll figure it out. This is one of those learning experience kind of things. So that would put 4 there. Okay, so my neck measurement is 14.5 inches. It says from 1, measure out to 5. 1.5 inches for a 12-inch neck, adding or deducting 1/8 of an inch for each inch more or less in the neck measurement. Okay, so that's what I need to do next. So that would put it at 1 3/4. So that's 5 there. Okay, from 2, always measure out 6 inch out to 6, 8 inches for the slant of the shoulder seam. So from 2, you can measure out 8 inches. And these plastic see-through rulers are very helpful for making sure that things are straight and square and parallel with each other, because I can see that this line right here is on level with that, so I know that this line's not going up or down. That's 6 out there. And now we do from 4, measure out to 7, half the width of the back, plus 1 1/4 inches. Width of the back, what did we have? Back width was 18. So so that's 9 inches, that's 10 1/2 out from 4. There's 4. And this is already looking superficially similar to my chemise pattern, which is good because it's basically very similar to them. So that makes 7 right there. And I do think I'm going to once again have to drop this down a bit just because of the space under the arm not being enough. But, you know, that's something for the mock-up. Okay, from 3, measure out to 8, the same number of inches less 1 inch. Okay, so that would be 9 1/2, I guess. I'm going to move this very long ruler because it's just getting in my way now. So I would put this at 9 1/2 inches down at 3. And that puts that at, that's over to 8. That's 0.8, I say. Neck to 5 and 6 with a dotted line. There. This approximates the shoulder slope. There we go. Marking the length of the shoulder. Draw a line 9, carrying it through the point, marking the length of the shoulder and 1/2 inch beyond. So 1/2 inch beyond would be length of the shoulder. That's what it wants. Did I get the length of the shoulder ever? Okay, yes, shoulder is 4.5. So 4.5 is there. That's the length of the shoulder, so that would be 0.10 there. That's the actual shoulder, so it's not hanging out, way beyond and falling over the edge of my shoulder, which is a style. It's just not the style I'm going for. 9, carrying it through, so we have to mark this 1/2 inch up there. Okay, so that'll be 10 right here. 9 goes from 7 up to there. So as with the other one, I think we're probably going to have to do some monkeying with patterns and such, because I really don't think this curve that I've just drawn is going to fit in a way that's comfortable on my arm. Here, I'll bring you up closer. I really don't think that this curve right here is one that's suited for my body. We'll find out. That's what mock-ups are for. But, if it's not, it's not. Okay, I should move you so that you can actually see. I'm just trying to not also show, every little last thing and speck of anything that might be on my floor. All right, make 10 and 7, so yes, that's what I've done. Draw a dotted line from the bust line to the waistline. Oh, here it is. Bust line to waistline. Here. There we go. And now draw a slightly curved line for the underarm seam here. So it wants me to curve this a bit. 12 is an outward, oh, wait, I'm not at that point yet. So it wants me to come in a little bit from here, down here at 8. It's me to come in a little down here at 8. And then it wants me to come up and touch this. So here, you can see. So this is the line right here that it's wanting me to do. So it had me draw this nice dotted line there, and now it wants me to do this. So just a very gentle curve. It doesn't want anything sharp, nothing dramatic, just something that might hopefully flatter a human body. So I'm going to lean it up pretty close to the dotted line I've already drawn because I'm lazy, and this is a mock-up, so we can always adjust curves later. Now 12 is an outward curve extending down 3 inches from the waistline and slanting 1 inch. Now I do remember on the mock-up, or not the mock-up, the chemise, I added an extra few inches. I think I'm going to add not just 3 inches, but, well, I can find out. How many long is this versus how long is that going to be on my actual self? That is measurement we can get. From there. All right. So that'd be 21 and a bit. So if we measure that from the nape of my neck down, yeah, no, that is not quite long enough for me, or for my personal tastes rather. So I'll probably add 5 inches, and then I can always just chop off a bit if that's a bit long in the mock-up. So there we go. There's down to the actual level, and then it wants it out 1 inch from this. I might flare it out just a little bit more, just for, once again, my personal tastes, because I do like stuff that flares just a little bit. Find it more comfortable, that it fits slightly nicer. Yeah, so now we make this curve, make us happy. And there we go. That was far simple. And so the dotted line here, this dotted, if you can see it, so there's a little dotted line right here, shows the allowed amount of fullness in the back. So leaving myself an extra couple inches was actually the correct thing to do. Good for me. That's always nice. And now it says any style yoke can be made, or the back left plain and with a few gathers at the waistline. I think I'm going to start with it just left plain, and then later on worry about the yoke. And if I end up deciding that I want to put a yoke on this thing, I may not. Because, you know, no one says that I have to. It could also be very fun to try. So let's just mark the bottom line of that. There we go. Oh, and I should probably mark my neck curve out here. Just for giggles. There. Wait a second. No, that's supposed to be up just a little. There we go. Now it makes sense. There. That one sense. There we go. All right, and now we do the same except reversed to make the front. So I'm just making sure that all my papers are sorted so that I can find the bits that I need to find as I need them. And now we draw another nice long line over here. Sorry, that was loud. That was me knocking over my metal ruler. Now once again, we're going to put it over here near but not touching the edge, just in case I do want that extra length. Or not that extra length, that extra width. Just so, you know, that I have that option if I so desire. There we go. And now it says from the top of the line, measure down 2 inches to 1 for the correct shoulder slant. So let's march all y'all over here to this. So it says mark it down 2 inches. That puts 1 there. And now from 1, always measure down 6 inches to 2 to find the bust line. I always grab this particular ruler upside down and I don't know why, and it's kind of annoying. There's 2 right there, so that makes the bust. No. 2 to 3, from 2 measure down to 3, the length of the underarm measure to find the waistline. So let's check that over here just to make sure that they're the same. Yes, the underarm is 10 3/4. Just make sure that we did that. 10 3/4. That would be 0.3. Sorry, I am trying to make it so that all of you can see what I'm doing, but you know, lighting conditions being what they are, we will do what we can, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments. Alright, so from the top of the line it says measure out to 4, 2 inches for a 12-inch neck, adding or deducting 1/8 of an inch for each inch more or less than the neck measurement. So that's an extra 1/4 of an inch for me. So and that's from the top of the line specifically. So it's 2 1/4. That makes that's 0.4. And then from 1, always measure out 9 inches to 0.5 for a correct slanting. There we go. And now, to find the width of the front of the bust line, subtract the width of the back from the bust measurement, and for drafting half the front, divide the remainder by 2. Okay, so my bust with the corset is 39.5 inches. The back measurement is 18, so that works out to 21.5. And then it wants half of that, which is 10 3/4, presuming my math is right. Because I'm doing that in my head because my computer's not on, so I don't have that calculator, and my phone is recording, so I don't have that calculator. So, and then the number of inches obtained less than 1 1/4 inches added to the back is the length of line from 2 to 6. So that would make it 9.5 from 2 to 6. That seems reasonable, possibly, maybe. I don't know. This is what we make mock-ups for. .6. Now measure out the same number of inches from 3 to 7, less 1 inch. It's down here, so that would be 8.5. There. 1 inch above the bust line, measure out to 8, 1/2 the width of the chest. Let's see, chest is 37.5, it looks like. And half the width of the chest. Let's just make sure. Give me just a second to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. Sorry, there was a hiccup. So it'd be 1/4 of the width of chest total. Well, we can actually probably do something a bit more precise by measuring over here. So, as it stands over here, 1 inch above the bust line is going to be, if I can math, not, 1 inch above the bust line comes out to 9 inches. And if the chest measurement is 37.5, and divide that, well no, take 18 inches out of that. That would be 19.5. So 19.5 divided by 2 is 9 3/4, if I'm doing my math right. It has been a long time since school. That would put that measurement wider though. Oh yeah, because of the corset. That, I keep forgetting that, and it's kind of annoying, so it would have squished in a bit. Connect 4. Alright, so share it to 8. Where is 0.8? Alright, so I'm just going to arbitrarily decide to bring that in about, well, on the other side it comes in about 1 inch or so, so let's decide to make that here. Let's bring it in like 3/4 of an inch, just for giggles, because like I said, this is a mock-up. Forgot to get that changed measurement once I got the corset on. Oh, and I should probably mark this line over here and put my shoulder measurement in. Alright, and my shoulder measurement is 4.5. So to there. And then let's curve this down. Make this nice. There we go. Alrighty, so 10 is the arm's eye curve drawn from the shoulder to the bust line, touching the chest line. That is not an awful curve there. It shows it way steeper on this. It shows this curve right here, whereas I'm going to have a much shallower curve right here. But, you know, once again, that's a mock-up problem. And I'm part of a few historical sewing Facebook groups, so once I get the sleeveless mock-up made, I'm going to take pictures of myself in that before I draft out and attach sleeves. Because there's no point in drafting sleeves that aren't going to fit at something that fits the rest of my body. Right. So from 4 it says draw the next, well, I think I already did 4. Yes. Okay, so it's supposed to be down just a little farther here. Just a little bit. I just skipped ahead of myself a tiny bit. That's okay. That's something we can fix. All right. That's another page done, so it's progress. Connect 6 and 7 with a dotted line. So 6 and 7 are these measurements here. There we go. Dotted line. And now, and for the underarm seam, draw line 12, which is going to be slightly curved. It looks like it comes in a bit narrower than 7 and comes up to 6, like the other side. But yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I think I want that a bit shallower of a curve right there. Looks a little drastic. There we go. Alrighty. Find the permanent waistline, measure from 4 to the main line, the front measurement. What? 4? Where's 4? Oh, gotcha. 4 to the main line. So 4, 4 is there. So it wants me to find the waistline by drawing down to that. Okay, so it wants me to find the length in the front that I want the waist to be and then adjust that angle. So, how long do I want that to be? Because my front torso length is 23.5 inches, it looks like. So if I'm measuring from the top point of my shoulder down to there. Or well, or no, not that, so that's would be how long I would want it to be. Okay, so that would be 20.5 down to there for the actual waistline. So let's see what that makes us. See if I can fit my ruler. Okay, yeah, that puts it down a decent amount because 20.5 is down here instead of the waistline that's there. So that would become my new 5 there. Making this the actual waistline right here. That would become line 14 there. All right, and then it now comes trickiness because I think I added 5 inches over here. Yes, I added 5 inches. So I've got to add 5 inches here and then 5 inches there to make it all, you know, all samesies. And 5 over here. There. And then it says to, and then slant it out 1 3/4 inch, which I think on this I will follow just because I did add my extra elsewhere. And now we make a nice curve. Make a curve that makes us happy. And we can worry about matching up the angles of the curves once we've started sewing things together. There is that ruler. I always seem to be misplacing various rulers of mine. Alright, so, oh, this one will work. Then we just match them up. And there we have it. That appears to be a completed sort of situation. And once again, I'm going to leave these chunks open and just fold them under so that if I want a wider or narrower shirt, I can have one. All right. Alrighty, so I think we're good. Now I will cut out some various pieces of fabric, which I probably won't show you because it's just cutting out fabric and you've seen me do that before. And then we get on to sewing. I will come back to you once I've got something assembled that we can see.